The Bull on Shooters Hill, up here high on Shooters Hill. An old coaching inn sat on the Roman Road, the Dover Road, Watling Street, and a place of at the heart of Steve Moore's wonderful mythology for this area called Somnium. Massively recommend that book. A favourite book of Alan Moore, no relation. Look at that magnificent water tower there, isn't that incredible? I'm trying to remember the story of the water tower. Or is that, no it's not, there is another tower here which is famous, all covered in other videos. All this stuff is in other videos, and that's not the reason that we're here. Well, the water is one of the reasons we're here. I was trying to think of Seven Drew Castle, wasn't I? Seven Drew Castle, it's an interesting story. I'll link to the relevant videos below. And I did the whole thing on this Steve Moore story with Ian Sinclair, a walk we did a few years ago. And I'm trying to get the camera so I'm not horribly backlit. But yeah, that was a magical day with Ian where we did Steve Moore's psychic circuit. Incredible stuff. Now I'm trying to find my way onto Shooters Hill, which is proving trickier than I thought. I actually walked straight past this because I was too busy thinking about Somnium and Seven Drew Castle, and of course a big signpost telling you where Oxleas Wood is, which is where I need to go. And the views from up here on Shooters Hill are just sensational, aren't they? So this path here takes us into Oxleas Wood and then to the proper start of today's walk, which I'll tell you about on the way when we're away from that band. Yes, I think it's this path down here, and the start of our walk, the source of the River Wogebourne, is just down here in the undergrowth. Luckily it does seem to roughly follow the capital ring way markers, which is very helpful. A few months ago I was doing a walk. I can't remember which river it was. I think it might have been the river shuttle walk that I did. It was one of my favourites. And Bob left a comment saying, will you ever walk the Wogebourne, the River Wogebourne? I thought, I've genuinely never heard of the Wogebourne. And I think the shuttle was a comment, a YouTube comment. And I'd never heard of the shuttle either. So I thought, that's got to be a good one. And I had it I had some maps, I read a couple of notes, and then I just left it there. And so today, it's been a scorching day. So I have the desire to get near water, number one, which may be wishful thinking, but number two, to walk under the leafy shade, but still go on a bit of a quest, not just an amble in the forest. So this just felt perfect. And it's 5 o'clock in the evening, so I mean the temperature's built up a bit, but the sun's not quite as harsh, so I shouldn't fry. So I'm down here in Oxleas Wood looking for the River Wogebourne that flows down to make its confluence with the Thames at Thamesmead. It's a tributary of the Thames. So, and I can see, the reason I stopped right here and I'm not walking is I can see a concrete culvert just to the left of the path. It doesn't appear to have any kind of pipe in it or anything like that, or certainly no water. And given that there's a lot of Second World War stuff up here on Shooters Hill, this could well be associated with some sort of gun emplacement or something rather than the river. But let's try and find the source of the river. It's just down here, I think, to the right of the path. And it's very clearly marked an open street map, even where it's culverted. So I'm using Google Map to show me where I am and an open street map to show me where the river is. So I think I took the wrong path down from the cafe. I think it isn't the Capital Ring route, it's just further along here to the right of the Capital Ring as you're heading south. Curious, great big stone slab here, just in the woods. I'm not near the river. Well, I am near, but I'm not as near as I thought I was. The job of finding the source is made so much more difficult by the fact Google OpenStreetMap shows the river, doesn't show where I am. Google Map shows where I am, doesn't show the river. The Ordnance Survey app shows both. The actual app shows where I am and where the river is. However, where it says I am is wildly different to where Google Maps says I am. I might just go back to me looking for it with my eyes. The maps, the apps, the satellite data seems to be inconclusive. Most people start this walk on the road, by the way, that I've seen. I've seen a couple of people walk it. and they start by the road where you can see it coming out. I can see why now. So I'm going to go along this big wide path here, and then there's a place where the river should cut across the path that goes off to the right. That's where I've compromised. It's quite funny. I got the OS map out of my bag to make the point that it's not on the printed Ordnance Survey Explorer map as well. As I got it up, going, right, I was about to do, or else I brought the wrong OS map. You'll have to take it as on my word that it isn't on the printed Ordnance Survey map for some reason. I think it might be over near Lesness Woods, Bostall Woods actually, not Lesness Woods, Bostall Woods. The heat, I can't talk, it's the heat. Now on both maps it does cut across this path here, so hopefully if it's above ground we'll see it. Okay, I'm going to take this as a win. It's only taken me half an hour to find this little bit of rusty pipe in the ground, encased in concrete, and no water. But this is, according to the OS app, this is exactly where the river is, just to the right of the Capital Ring path, so that was correct. So it must flow directly into the pipe, I suppose. What mystery lies within this hole? And it's not a hobbit. And look, here we have the dried up channel that in wetter weather would carry the Wogebourne on its journey towards the Thames. Wonderful. We have found a river. You can walk along these dried up stream beds if you like to stick true to the course, but it can get you into quite a lot of bother. You can find yourself in the middle of a holly bush if you're not careful, as I have done. And even though at the moment it's completely dried up, these logs over the river here, the dried up riverbed, show that as soon as there's rain, there's water flowing along the course of the Wogebourne. So this little river here flowing through the woods has been recorded since at least the 14th century in various records, going by various names, variations on the spelling of Wogebourne, but also known as the Plumstead River as well. There's a fantastic sequence here of, I can see 4 bridges. So this part of the bridge, I'm sure, should be called the 4 Bridges. How romantic. I'm sure my geologist friends could make much of the soil here on the riverbank. It's got a very distinctive colour, hasn't it? And here's a 5th bridge in that sequence. And you can see it's quite deep here. And somebody's constructed a little weir here, a little bit of water management to slow down the flow of the water. Obviously not an issue at this time of year. And I wonder if we'll see any water in the Wogebourne today on the way down to the Thames at Thamesmead. And here we have the clay pipe that takes the Wogebourne underground, and there's this sort of weird device here with a QR code on it which I have to scan. I wonder where it will take me. The link didn't work, but any idea what this is here? It's interesting, isn't it? And onwards we go in much the same fashion. The Wogebourne's only 5 miles long in total, but as we know with river walks there's a lot of zigzagging, so that 5 miles could easily become 7 or 8. It's interesting because I've done a few walks that take me across Shooters Hill and across Oxleas Wood and Falcon Wood, but I never really walked around it much. It's really, really beautiful and extensive, isn't it? It's much bigger than I thought. And what's great is there is a footpath just to the left of the riverbank that follows the course of the river. Famous last words, it's probably going to end up here, isn't it? But it's so far. It's a proper big bridge here, the biggest one so far. And it's evidence of how much water can be found flowing along the Wogebourne. Drop me notes, but I have the maps on my phone. I have the OpenStreetMap, and there is actually a pretty decent Wikipedia page as well. So I might have to drop the information in on the screen, which is probably better anyway, isn't it? So I can just walk. So just up here we're about to leave the woods and then weave our way through the houses, across recreation grounds, around the edge of Bostall Woods and down to Thamesmead. Another substantial bridge. Again, always good to see these signs that at various times of the year this river does run high and fast. And here's the point where it enters its culvert and goes under the road. Hopefully we can see it on the other side of the road. And just by the road we have a wonderful London County Council boundary marker. I love these guys. And of course rivers were often used as boundary markers, so here the Wogebourne would have been a boundary marker between the London County Council and the County of Kent, I suppose. And placed just at the kind of level to trip you up now, a metal sign that says the Borough of Woolwich. I think their date is 1903. 2 boundary markers here, and this, what I'm guessing, is a boundary post next to it. Love this stuff. This is the real magical kind of emblems of the landscape. Right, we've come out onto Shooters Hill, and I thought we came out opposite a pub, but it doesn't seem to be the case. So the river does carry on just to our left. I think there's a footpath as well. Look at the deer in this field here next to the road. Isn't that magical? Are they deer or is that just my poor eyesight? Are they actually goats? No, they are deer, aren't they? No, I think they're goats. I'm quite short-sighted. No, definitely deer. I just started those ones that I didn't realise were stood right next to me. You'll have to forgive me, those are most definitely goat, aren't they? Sorry, I don't know. It's the heat, you know, and the heat is, I'll blame the heat for my idiocy on this occasion. My dad watches these videos. I will be getting a phone call as soon as he watches this one. In fact, I think he'll probably stop there and ring me and go, "What? How did I bring you up? Where's the river?" So I think the Wogebourne is running through there in that undergrowth, and luckily there's a footpath that runs very close to it. So here's the Anchor and Hope pub that I'd seen mentioned, and we can see here from this sign as we enter the London Borough of Bexley, we're on the border between Bexley and Greenwich. The pub's actually called We Anchor in Hope. Yeah, it must be another old coaching inn. It's interesting, I hadn't realised you couldn't follow it on the other side of Shooters Hill, not for any distance, so we're going to have to take quite a long loop around and then follow its course across East Wickham open space where it runs beneath it, but at least we'll be walking over the course. It's all part and parcel of river walking. In terms of process, if you're interested how I do these things, I like to do as much of my research as I can. Obviously, if people have done the walks, I dip in and out of it. Sometimes I'll look for, you know, if they have a photograph of, here's a sign that the river's here, but you can't see it, stuff like that. And at this point, I could go to Diamond Geezer's blog. Diamond Geezer's walked all the rivers. He's walked everywhere. And he would say definitively at this point, you can't see it, you've got to walk around. But I'd rather I've just spent about 10 minutes stood by the side of the road looking at the maps, reading one blog post, which is more about the kind of stuff I've already got from the Geological Survey maps. I'd rather do my own thing, find the route and then get home and go and check Diamond Geezer and go, oh no, I should have gone here. Oh, actually, quite a few of you will be telling me in the comments where I could have seen the river. But I've made a decision, I'm going to commit to it. The walk is the walk. Down Wickham Street, and yeah, we're basically following the green chain walk. I've done a bit of that through Woolwich and Plumstead and Bostall Woods, which was fantastic. And it is so great to be out here this evening. It's absolutely perfect now. It's just after 6 o'clock. Temperatures come down to a nice manageable level, about 28 degrees. Into Chaucer Road now, and there's a few poetry themed or poet themed streets running off Chaucer Road. It's always lovely to see. We've got Blake Close here, and we might turn up Dryden Close as well. Great views across the rooftops there. This is such a green part of London, isn't it? Shelley Drive. So we'll take Keats Road here And that will bring us round to a point where we can see the river crossing the road, I think. And this is interesting here, look, River Valley School and Therapy Services, and it's at Poets Corner, just past Wordsworth Road as well. There's all sorts of poets littered around here. Look, we're in Dryden Road now. I should probably add a line of poetry from each poet, shouldn't I? Milton's over there against that privet hedge. So just off Edison Road, we've got the river running through this strip here beneath the ground, and look, we've got the access point to the culvert there. And it's crossing the road and going between those buildings. I think the one on the left used to be a pub between the houses, and it's going to East Wickham open space, which is where, again, we'll be following it beneath the ground, I believe. Dryden Road just does curve around to the footpath that also follows the course of the river. Wow, this is lovely. The Wogebourne is running beneath this path here, and it slightly branches around to the left as it goes across the East Wickham open space towards Bostall Woods. What a perfect place to be. The Wogebourne is running just to the left of this wood here, which is actually called Bourne Spring Wood. And it throws up something interesting I saw on the geological survey maps. I might need a bit of help with some on-screen notes here, but I've been writing about the River Shuttle recently and was trying to find it on the old geological survey maps and the old OS maps. And the stream that comes up is the Bourne. It's interesting because the Shuttle at some point in the past was called the Bourne, I think, in some parts, but then also the Bourne finds itself over here, which is where the Wogebourne is. And then at some point around 1880, the Wogebourne's the Wogebourne and the Shuttle's the Shuttle. So I don't know what was going on, whether it was just one map where they got it wrong. But it is interesting when you're looking for rivers on old maps, you need to look at a few, because the names do change, they shift around a bit. But the Bourne Spring Wood here on the course of the Wogebourne is interesting. I'll go back and check those maps when I get home. Wow. This is heaven, isn't it? And I'd say there's a good chance that the Wogebourne is running beneath this manhole cover here. Who is the deity of the Wogebourne? How do they walk amongst us? What do they look like? What do they do for a job? What do you think? I'm referring here to the Ben Aaronovitch Rivers of London, Peter Grant novels, where each of the London rivers has a deity who lives as a person in London, obviously with magical powers, of course. The OpenStreetMap shows that is the Wogebourne running under the manhole cover here, in that direction there. And we have a footpath following the same course. So the river's running just behind the Forester's Arms here, sadly shut. You can see this building dates from 1890, and we're about to go around the edge of Bostall Woods. So the break in this wall, or in fact the existence of this wall here, would indicate that hopefully the river is down there above ground. You can hear it, can't you? That is very loud. How wonderful. The question is, where did all that water come from? So we'll have to go up here up Woodbrook Road to get little glimpses of the river as it flows between the houses. Avid viewers will be familiar with this part of the urban river walk. What do they call it in the past? The urban river shuffle. Little dance that you do as you zigzag around the houses, just getting little glimpses as it flows between them and behind them. And it's going to do that now, I think, until we get to Abbey Wood train station. Yeah, something like that. So here it is here. We can't see it, of course, but we can hear it. You can see the light dancing on the water there, beneath the leaves. That's some proper magic down there. That's enchantment. Streamdale Road, lots of water references at this point, acknowledging the presence of the Wogebourne. Now we can properly see the river in its concrete culvert, and I think it goes underground not long after this point here, and I don't know when we see it next. It might be at the end of the walk as it enters Southmere Lake at Thamesmead. This is pure enchantment here, pure magic. I love this stuff, it's what I live for. And here we have Waterdale Road. I think we do get another view of the river not far along here actually, a brief glimpse. I'm going to push on along Wickham Lane for a bit until we get a little glimpse of the river just up here to the right. Can of lemon Fanta, which will hopefully give me back the power of speech. This is quite a curious landscape here, quite beautiful. Just got a really big strong smell of honeysuckle, big waft of it hit my nose. And there's the sound of green parakeets and wood pigeons from the nearby Bostall Woods. It's really quite beautiful. And if you look down into Bastion Road, you can see the river cutting through there. You can see where the river valley goes. If we trace it back from that low point there, it runs right through these houses. What a beautiful view of the river valley. I think the view of it would be from down the end of this little alleyway here, this little lane, but it's very overgrown. I'm going to carry on walking around. I'm going to carry on along Bastion Road, which curves around, flowing in the direction of the river. I think this is the course of the river here. Oh, we've got a stink pipe. There's always a bird somewhere along the course of the river. Do you think it's in their genetic memory that there was water here? And here we have quite a majestic stink pipe. Sewers often following the course of rivers if they didn't actually use the rivers as sewers themselves. Fantastic. So this is the other side of that little strip near the stink pipe with the protective crow. You see it's running through this grass here, and then it crosses Bostall Hill and then goes beside the petrol station. So we are going to basically haunt it by walking down Woodhurst Road as far as the railway lines. So I would say the river's coming from there somewhere and then flowing across this little road beneath these garages and beneath the railway line behind it. We're close to the end now. I'm hot, I won't lie, I'm feeling the heat now. So we're now moving into the territory of Thamesmead, which of course has been enormously redeveloped, or is in the process of being enormously redeveloped. So I've got to get up onto that concrete walkway. So according to OpenStreetMap, the Wogebourne, I think, was culverted, was redirected, and I have the website about this. There was an article talking about a lost river being found during the building of the Elizabeth line, and the OpenStreetMap shows it running along this grass verge where there is a clear pipe kind of marked line in the ground, isn't there? Two things. I'm really feeling the heat now. Oddly, it's hotter than I thought, and it's definitely interfering with my cognitive functioning, my ability to even pronounce the name of the river we're following. See there, I nearly said following from. So two things. A, that. Second thing is, clearly what's going on there is the river's been laid along a pipe recently. That is not the course of the Wogebourne. I think the course of the Wogebourne is the course that would likely be the course of this road here, which is a little bit shorter. Number one, it takes me straight to Southmere. I know it runs into Southmere Lake. So I am going to not just walk along the pipe. See, couldn't find the words. I'm going to walk along this road here. Name will be on the screen. I'll show you the map as well. and we'll see the point where the Wogebourne drops into the into Southmere. What do you think? Do you agree? Would you do that, or would you diligently stick to the pipe? You're allowed to disagree. It's fine. People certainly do. I know that much. According to Wikipedia, this is the course of the Wogebourne. Actually, so this is the correct thing to do, the original course. However, it does carry on beyond Southmere Lake. What's this curious wooden structure all about here? According to Wikipedia, the Lidl there sits over the course of the Wogebourne. That's a good marker, isn't it? And the white horse over there has got to be symbolic of something. Seems to be right over the river. So the river's flowing beneath this road here, Harrow Manor Way, and I guess they're along the edge of these new flats. This is the new Thamesmead. First time I've really seen it. Could it be more perfect? The fact there's a little tap room just here by Southmere, operated by the wonderful Rock Leopard Brewery, a local brewery. Got a wonderful pint of their IPA. Are we human or are we dancer? Are we chancer? I'll put the name on the screen here. Wonderful pint of IPA right here where the Wogebourne meets the Southmere Lake. I said to the guy, "You've saved my life." Cheers. Toasting the deity of the Wogebourne as you are obliged to do. I wonder if this grate here is the point where the Wogebourne flows out into Southmere Lake. It would make sense, wouldn't it? That was absolutely heaven to find that bar there. There's like a place where kids are roller skating, part of the new development. And a pint of IPA has completely refreshed me, although obviously it's a bit later now. Not as much light, but it's beautiful. As you all know, this is my favourite time of the day on a walk. And also, whilst I was sat there, I did slightly correct myself on I would have gone over that way and gone the wrong way, whereas actually the little canal I need is this way. You can see here how Thamesmead is being massively redeveloped. Some people have suggested controversially. I don't know much about it, to be honest with you. But over there we have some of the old legacy blocks. I think they might even be listed. And the lakeside, I can't remember what it was. Is it like a cafe, a venue? Looks like that's been retained. And of course people in the comments will point out the filming of Clockwork Orange here, which gave the area a certain reputation that it didn't necessarily deserve. I've made videos on Thamesmead in the past, or at least one video on Thamesmead, and a podcast about Crossness sewage treatment works, which is here in Papadimitriou. All of that can be found. It's not on YouTube, but one of the videos is on YouTube. But the podcast, John Rogers, Crossness, you'll find it, I hope. This is great because you can see the point over there where the Wogebourne exits Southmere Lake, and then it becomes the Crossway Canal, but that is the ongoing course of the River Wogebourne. And you can see the onward route here. We've just got to go over the main road. Luckily there's a path here that should connect us with the canal. This is the Green Chain Walk, and I have walked here before. It doesn't look very promising though, does it? Particularly at 9 o'clock at night. However, we are on a quest. So this canal here does apparently, according to Wikipedia, carry the Wogebourne along its course down to the Thames. And if you think back to those bridges in Oxleas Wood, and now we have these quite grand bridges here on the final stages of the Wogebourne before it meets the Thames. So I'm going to make a decision here on the banks of the Wogebourne or the Crossway Canal in Thamesmead Estate, and I'm going to end the walk here. This feels like the appropriate ending to today's walk. It's interesting because I'm just frantically looking at the map, trying to find my way through the labyrinth of streets, because now there is no path beside the Wogebourne or the Crossway Canal as it is here, which apparently is carrying the Wogebourne to the Thames. And somehow I'd have to find myself down to the Thames Path, then come back, and then maybe not even see the river because it could already have gone underground, at which point it could be nearly dark. And that is not the end to the walk I want. I don't want to have this frustrating zigzag around the streets, the labyrinth of Thamesmead. That is not the way this walk ends. The way this walk ends is here. Dragonflies flitting over the water here, this calm section near a wonderful bridge, an arched bridge. This is the end to my Wogebourne walk. The rest of it is slightly manufactured in terms of the course of the river. I feel this is an authentic ending for me. So thank you so much for coming on that South London Lost River quest. Not lost, partially lost, unlost, remade, reborn in places. What a great, great, great day. What a wonderful walk. I'm writing about tributaries in London, by the way. That's one of the reasons I was thinking about this river. So when I write it up, obviously I'll come back and see what's there. That's the advantage of writing over making videos. But this is the journey, this is today's walk, and what an incredible walk it is. What a beautiful ending, beautiful sunset down here in South London. So thank you for joining me on that incredible walk. Thank you to all my wonderful supporters here on YouTube, on Patreon, and everywhere you are in the world. Come to have a pint with me at the Lamb in Lamb's Conduit Street on the 23rd of July at 7:30 p.m. Come down for a drink. Let's have a pint together. I'll probably natter a bit. You can ask me some questions. Usual thing. I might even get some other kind of London-y type people along. Who knows? Got to get Tweedy along, right? Surely. Take care. See you soon. Look forward to seeing you on the next walk, or wherever that may be. And I'll see you in the Lamb in a couple of weeks. And as a postscript, I'll put the mileage on the screen, but I did manage to turn this into like a 10-mile epic. But having watched the video, now you can see why. There's a lot of zigzagging and twisting and turning around. Right, where's the Elizabeth Line station? Elizabeth Line, Elizabeth. I need another pint to restore my power of speech.
It's over the meadow, over the stream. It's where I am going and where I have been. It's been a long day now. It's time for a bit.